What is up, guys, girls, and dank memers? The Squire here, coming at you with a patch 5.10 rundown. Just going to go over the patch notes today. This is my return from a little bit of a hiatus, finals and finishing up school and everything and moving. Hope everyone's school went well, work's going well, hope everyone's doing good. Alright, boys, let's go over this. So, we're still living in the Cinderhulk meta at this point in time. Pro play's been pretty stagnant because MSI happened, and after that, not a whole lot has happened. So, not a whole lot of huge changes coming through, trying to work on everything, trying to balance everything out. Overall, it's been pretty interesting. You got Sejuani, Gragas, Rek'Sai beating the monsters recently. And other than that, the 70% bans, that's about it. So, big new thing, Echo's coming out. I feel, have played around with him a lot on PvE. Very high skill level champion. I feel also extremely high potential. You have great outplay potential, you have high damage, high burst, really strong champion overall. I think once people pick him up and practice him, he'll see a ton of play. Very strong, very fun to play. It'll be interesting because while he will be strong, we are still in the tank meta and he is an assassin. So technically he may not be as strong, especially in pro play, but he does have good potential. Great slows and CC, so his utility might help him stay relevant. We'll just have to see. Definitely fun. Play him if you guys can. I absolutely love him. I might spam the crap out of him. Anyway, Akali, they made these changes that a lot of people really hated. I'm not a huge Akali player, but it was definitely weird. You dash through targets, and it was very strange and not very helpful to help her out, which is what they wanted to do. So now if you hit someone, if you ult to someone with your Q, you dash half the distance, and in general her dash distance through someone is less. So it'll really help her stick to people, which is what I think they're trying to do. And give her some different mechanics other than being straightforward. But the Q part really does help, and the lower distance in general. So, might see Akali come around again. The issue is she's just not that great. She's really great in solo queue at pub stomping and like really getting ahead really fast and just getting basically snowballing, and if she doesn't snowball, she's really bad. Looking at her stats on champion.gg, basically her only stat that she's good in is kills, and if she doesn't get kills, her win rate is horrible. So that's something to keep in mind. If you are an Akali player, you can probably attest to this. The games you win are the games you get super fed. Cassiopeia starting to see a lot of play in the tank meta. She does good consistent damage and isn't getting bullied by these assassins that used to be around. So now her healing is lower, just the ability power ratio, and her mana refund is lower if she kills a unit. This will just help her, so because she's really strong. Even early game, if you misplayed against her, if she had enough mana, she could kill you early on with enough ease put down on you. So I think this is a good change. I still think she's really strong just because she honestly is insanely good against tanks. She has great consistent damage. She turns into a monster late game that if you don't play it right, if you get hit by her stun, she will kill you if she wants to, especially if you're squishy. I think she's a great pick. She's definitely a higher skill level pick, which is nice because not everyone can just pick her up and play her and shred through everyone. So I think this is definitely bringing her around into a better state. Gragas body slam, radius is lower. He's really strong right now, so it may not knock him out. I think he'll still be highly banned, highly picked, especially in competitive. He just does really good. He's one of the few junglers that has tank junglers that has great disengage as well as engage, and he also has insanely good early and mid game pressure with his body slam basically. Definitely strong, not gonna stop his play at all. If you don't play him, you should play him basically if you're a jungle player. Sejuani, Gragas, and Rek'Sai are definitely the strongest junglers right now. In solo queue, it's a little they're still really good in solo queue, but like I'm talking from a competitive level. In solo queue, a lot of stuff's viable if you know how to play it right. I mean, look at Cowsep. He plays Master Yi, who's, I don't think, like, ever seen competitive play in a while, jungle. And he's Masters, almost Challenger. So don't take what's popular in competitive and say that it's the only thing that's good in solo queue. But that being said, Grog is still super strong. Jinx changes are going to be really interesting. She gets 10% more attack speed late game, but she does have a lot less attack speed mid game. So basically, before, in my opinion, Jinx was always one of the best AD carries. If you positioned well, you're strong. Really strong early game, really strong mid game, insanely strong late game. And this makes her have that power trough of a hyper carry. Like, if you thought about Ultrastana, Caitlyn, both are really good early game and late game, but they have this trough mid game where they have to really snowball if they want to be even with other people, which I think is somewhat fair, because also this is only for a minigun. Her rockets are really what makes Jinx really good. They give her range and AoE damage, so those are being hit, so I still think she's strong. But what I think this really hurts is her one-on-one trading, or one-on-one dueling, which she shouldn't really be able to do, but that's a different story, like in my opinion, as her character is all about team fights, resets, tower taking, but she can still 1v1 a lot of people. But anyway, this will hurt her 1v1 potential and her tower taking, which I think is the biggest thing. If you leave Jinx alone, she can shred through turrets with her minigun attack speed, and this being hurt mid game will definitely hurt that. But I definitely think she's strong, and if people don't do the overreaction where, oh, this champion got nerfed, stop playing her, I definitely think she'll still be really strong, especially in competitive if teams play around it. Really good in solo queue also, I should add, for snowballing. Okay, karma changes. This is going to take some time because it's very interesting. So they decided to do these changes because she had some people that played her but wasn't very popular, I guess. They were just like, oh, let's do some stuff to karma. Kind of strange, but I think it's, overall, I think it's a net buff, but does have some interesting changes, so let's talk about it. So now, instead of 2 seconds at all levels, her auto attacks and spells give more cooldown refund towards her ult. So super good. Later in the game, her ult's going to be up constantly, which it was already pretty much before. But now it'll be up even faster. You may be able to use it multiple times in fights. Personally, I don't play her a whole bunch, but definitely a good pick in some aspects. She's really well-rounded. You can engage, disengage with your E, the speed up, and the shields. Great poke, good burst, decent burst. I mean, she's a well-rounded champion, I think. And these will definitely help her out, I think. So now, Jungle Karma hype, her W can be used on monsters, and it has a higher ratio, so that means it's going to do more damage. If I'm correct, I think it'll heal her for more on the Mantrid one, but I'm not sure. That's a different story. But, so that'll definitely help her out. It's just a nice little quality of life change, I guess, and you can now Jungle Karma even better. Kind of could before, but now definitely is. They're saying, hey, you can do this. Interesting thing is, it doesn't do bonus damage when you mantra it, but now it increases the duration. Here's the thing, a lot of people are complaining about losing the damage on this, but what they say up here is that they're trying to make it so she has a specific choices. It's not damage, or damage, but extra effects in there. It's damage on Q, utility on W, or shields on E. So here with the W, it increases the root duration. Doesn't do damage, but increases the root duration. So at max rank, it already does 2-second root if you get it off. So if you get root off on the mantra one, it's a 3.2 second root, which is, I think, maybe the highest CC in the game now. They've reduced basically everything that was 3 seconds, except maybe Morgana's Snare. So this is insanely good for her utility. I think Karma support will benefit from this to an extent. But I think this is just a good general buff overall. It's a 3.25 seconds stun. Snare, root, whatever. It's 3.25 seconds. That champion is not moving for your team to kill them, basically. And with the Q and your E, you can basically keep the chain on them. The chain is really not too hard to actually stick on people if you play it right. That's a huge buff. Lower cooldown on E, lower shield amount, but better mana cost. Overall net buff, you lose 40 on the shield, which hurts, but definitely you can spam it more. I think that's a net buff. And then here you go. So the mantra, it doesn't do damage. I never really understood why the shield did damage. That's just my personal opinion. But whatever. And now also, so it increases the shield amount. So while yeah, it's 40 less at max rank, it also is, if you ult and use it on someone, it's 410 shield plus 0.3 ability power. That's a huge shield buff right there. It goes from 30 to 210 too. Massive scaling on that. Great late game for your team. And then it's 50% of it. So if the shield amount is 410, that's 210 to everyone, 205 to everyone else. That's huge. Plus you get some AP scaling on there. It's not great. But that's a definite buff. People are very upset about this. Some of these people are, on Reddit especially, are upset about these changes. They're like, why are you doing this? But I overall think these changes are definitely going to help Karma. Definitely something I personally want to try out, and I think her play rate will skyrocket because whenever someone gets a buff, usually people like to try him out. Definitely I think this is a good overall change. Leona, Zenith Blade. I think Missile Width isn't always a bad thing in decrease, especially on support Leona. I mean, that's really the only Leona that's played, but sometimes you would throw out your E, and there would maybe be someone behind and off to the side that you didn't think you'd hit, but the width would hit. So it's not horrible, actually. This could actually be very helpful. Or not very helpful. It's not that huge of a missile change. It's just you have to be more accurate with it. I think it's a totally fair change. Matching up visuals. It's a good change. Nothing too crazy there. Lulu change. Not too crazy. Mana regen per level's lower, but her base mana regen's better. So like they say here, it's just better for support Lulu without cranking up solo lane Lulu, which is pretty good. Lulu's got a very good specific purpose. Bring utility, especially to hyper carries. You got a Cassiopeia, you got a Kog'Maw, you got someone who's good late game. You just buff them up, make sure that they don't die in team fights. And whether you want that as a support or you want even more scaling with AP on a solo lane, there you have it. Definitely think she's in a good spot, and that'll help out support Lulu. Rek'Sai, this is a pretty big nerf to an extent. Yeah, it's just base health, but it's 41.2 health, which is quite a bit. Early game, her clears might be a little more rough, but she was already really good early game. She has sustain. I don't think this will stop her at all. Definitely strong. You can build Warrior or Cinder Hulk. You can be strong early game. You're still pretty decent late game. Definitely still strong. I don't think this will kick her out of solo queue or competitive play. It's just going to hurt her early on and maybe right here reduce the viability of her early ganks. Most people can't get off early ganks now. You have to back, go to a camp, and then go. So yeah, it's still around level 3, but it's just definitely going to be an early game change. I still think she's strong. You just have to be careful on you're watching your health, and you will be squishier than you were before, basically. Q changes, these are nice. The rework wasn't as great as, I mean, it was good. It was in a good direction in my opinion. Adding some counterplay to Rise, definitely Windows of Power, but it was just too little. He didn't have any damage is basically the issue. So now our ranks don't matter. It's 6 seconds at all ranks on his passive, and now all buffs are at the beginning of spellcast time instead of at the end. So it just will probably feel more smooth, be faster, and you can maybe get off a clutch shield from your passive right before you die, where you might not have before. I mean, that's all hypothetical, but definitely a good buff here. Q damage definitely need to go up. I'm not a fan of Old Rise at all. I hated playing against him, especially in top lane, but I definitely think this is needed. He needs more damage on his Q. It's his primary damage source, and it didn't do any damage before. So it's not huge early game. You got about 5 more damage at level 2, 10 more damage, but slowly over time it's definitely a good buff. And then duration doesn't go up over ranks. It's 6 seconds at all ranks, which will definitely help him out as well. Overall, might start seeing some play. People might start catching on with him. He's decent in the tank meta because he can't get bullied early game and can just have time to scale. But it might need a little bit more to get going. This is definitely steps in the right direction. So the Sejuani nerfs are coming in. Less percent damage, but in my opinion, this will not take her out of meta. This will not stop her being strong. She's strong for her engage, her jungle clears, her tankiness, and especially her ult, which this does not hit at all. Definitely the percent health was a great thing that helped her out. It's like with Gragas. Both W's did percent health. That's why they were played. But it still does percent health. It's just less, which is good for a tank. She shouldn't be able to 1v1 80 carries, which she does. Well, I don't know. That's debatable. But she could stomp 80 carries and tanks alike. But this will definitely put her more on engage with her ult and Q and stuff like that. Crowd control makes more sense, but this is actually not going in right away. They'll have to change it in the next patch or hotfix because there's a mistake and it's only the tooltip. So Sejuani, still pick ban. This is not. Don't stop playing her. She will still be strong even after these nerfs. But keep in mind, she's still at 10% at max rank. Still super strong. Don't be mistaken. Don't be like, oh, they're picking Nerf Sedge. It's not Nerf Sedge yet. Be warned. Weird bug with Sion's ult. Didn't go off right. Calculate damage correctly. Fair enough. And then awesome buff to Taric. Just getting his mana cost more in line with other champions. 100 mana instead of 140 mana at max rank. Definitely more useful. I mean, at rank 3, it's the same as rank 5 now. So, I think Taric's secretly really strong, especially against high AD teams. The amount of army you get is ridiculous for support, and definitely the utility he brings to the team. This will definitely help him. Might see more play. He's one of those things I think where people won't play him until someone starts playing him a lot and they notice it. But I definitely think he's in a good spot. Shot performance, hopefully that freeze bug should be gone. Thank God, people were definitely having issues with it. I've had it a couple times, so that's good. No longer an ice cream store, it doesn't freeze anymore. Support changes. There's a lot of interesting support changes now. They're not too big, but they are, if that makes any sense. Right now, basically, the only starts that were good are Relic Shield or Spell Thieves. Coin was alright on some people, but never really that good. Usually you'd buy Spell Thieves and then upgrade it to Talisman later. This might start the viability. It gives more gold, has a higher range, and that continues to increase. So then you get even more gold, and you get more health per minion death, more mana regen. The range is still the same, or still increased. And that stays about the same. So, and the cooldown on Talisman is lower, so that's huge. So for like any supports, I'm trying to think. I think some Threshes would maybe sometimes do it. I'm thinking in pro play. Bard, I think, did it sometimes too, where you build Talisman and Righteous Glory, and you just hard engage with all the speed ups. And so now the cooldown's even lower. It's used to match up perfectly with Righteous Glory, and now it's 20 seconds earlier, so that's definitely helpful. I don't know, I still feel, depending on who you are, Soraka, I think this is good on the health because she uses her health to heal. The healing it gives, and then the mana regen is definitely nice on Soraka. And maybe Sona, but I think Sona benefits more from AP. I can't think of supports that would benefit from coin more. I still think Spell Thieves and Relic Shield are the best starts. But that is my opinion. Try it out. I'm going to test it out. I definitely think coin is better as a final item than other items, than Spell Thieves, but Spell Thieves is a better starting item. It gives you more power in lane, which is the difference. Ardent Sensor, interesting change. I don't know if it's necessarily a buff, because you do lose 10% of the attack speed you would give to people when you heal or shield them, but they do gain 30 damage on hit. So I definitely think it'll be good on some champions, maybe Soraka. Soraka, maybe Janna, because she has her ult and her E. But definitely I think Soraka benefits the most. Maybe Sona. because what you do is with Soraka, you ult your whole team, everyone gets the attack speed, and you can keep giving out heals. So, I think it's a definite good choice. Not sure how it will play out. Not a lot of people bought this anyway, so we'll have to see. Cutlass, active range is just base, and Bork have higher active ranges, so it's easier to hit with your base attack, because most ranges are about 550 for 80 carries especially. So this will definitely just help less people think of it being a bug. Because yes, there is a bug, I think, but it's just because it's shorter auto attack range, I think, that sometimes it wouldn't go off. So this will definitely just help. It's not a huge buff. It'll help, I think, Gnar, and some other melees. It's not a huge range increase, but it'll definitely help them out. Because Gnar's range is like 400 something, so it actually gives him more range if he builds this. Not a huge fan of Bork on Gnar, but I'm just thinking outside the box right there. Banner commanding higher range to match with the aura that it gives, because it builds out of Aegis. And here's the other buff to supports. This is kind of a nerf, I guess, to mid laners to an extent. So I think you get less, you get less mana early game. You get less mana early game, or because you only put 9 points in, so you don't get this. This is a higher mana regen. You don't get it with only 9 points, so now you just get early game mana better basically. Sorry. So this is more support oriented. All of these buffs I think are support oriented. So melee champions now, instead of getting weird like assists plus 15 gold for kills and assists, you get 8 gold each time you attack an enemy champion, which is good because it's hard to attack an enemy champion technically as a melee. Only when you're going all in. So Leona, Alistar, Taric, those champions will definitely benefit from this. It's just, I think that's more of a quality life thing, honestly, because this just isn't that good of a passive. It's really not worth it. You get double that every 5 seconds. So, or not double that, but the same amount every 2 attacks. So definitely a good change there. More experience. I don't really know anyone that takes inspiration. I don't think it's that good. It might be useful now because but it's only when they're a higher level. So I don't really think it's that good. It's more of like if you get behind, this might help you out a little bit. Not, in my opinion, that good. Reduces the cooldown of activated items. This is huge. 20% from 10%. Definitely a good buff. Most people take this anyway because it also gives 5% cooldown reduction as well. And so 20% is definitely a huge, because supports are always overloaded with active items anyway. So that will just help those items be up more. Mikhail's, Banner if you use it, Coin, Relic Shield, or I guess Face of the Mountain. Everything that a support uses, so that's good. Plus 20 movement speed, so it goes from percentage to a flat amount. I think that's better. Because percent's really good as you get more movement speed. So once you have Mobies, yeah, it might be better. But early game, it'll definitely help you move around better. I'd have to do some numbers, but I think that's basically the same thing anyway, even with like Mobies. Super Minions got nerfed a little bit. Monster leashes, smaller leash range, more resets. Oh wow, this is rough for ranged attackers. So basically you could just, so like Kale Jungle, TF Jungle back at the beginning of the season with Devour, they would do the resets to make it so that they would take less damage, and now it's a lot lower. This will help melees, I think, take less damage, but it'll definitely hurt those weird jungle picks and stuff. That's interesting. I don't know why they did that. You don't even see very many ranged junglers. But I mean, it'll definitely help melees because you can reset it more. Visual adjustments. Okay, so you can hide eye candy, help with performance. That's a cool little feature. I think it was pros that were especially talking about that. I don't know. I saw it mentioned in a Red post somewhere. Cooldown higher Mark Dash. This is good because basically everyone would take Mark Dash. It's supposed to be meant more for like physical dealers, or like, you know, people that don't have hard engage but are melee, who would, you like, oh great, I got this in ARAM. So definitely I think this is a good choice. It's just making it more balanced for you ARAM players, myself included. Ranked in activity notifications, Plat Plus players, you'll get a notification, which is nice, so that you know when you're about to get wrecked for decay if you haven't been playing. Hexakill Twisted Tree Line will be making a return. Super fun. I like that game mode. It has bans now, which they didn't mention here, but bans will definitely be nice, so it's not Katarina every single game. For the Hexakills you could get from rolling your face on the keyboard. Some bug fixes, and then some really cool skins. So Echo's release skin. Knockout Lee Sin is definitely, I think, Lee Sin's best skin, because he doesn't have any particles on any other skins except for this one, really. On Pool Party he had the coconut, but this has like new abilities on everything. It has a little bell ring when you W, like old school boxing. 750 Tryndamere skin, which I think is really cool. He definitely doesn't have a whole lot of high quality skins. And this one's pretty cheap for the quality's good. I like it. I played all these on PvE, and then the Irelia one's nice. She hasn't had a new skin in a while. I think she only has 3 skins or so. No, she has more than that, but definitely nice skin. New particles, 975. Good batch of skins, and I think this is just a good patch overall. Comment below, let me know what you guys think of this patch. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know what I can do to improve, and just overall, thank you guys for watching. Have a great summer. Have fun playing League, guys. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe.